Test. Good morning, guys. I'm just getting set up here. All right, we're going to give everyone a few more minutes to join. If you guys have any questions, make sure you have them ready. We will definitely have time for Q&A today. All right. I just sent out another quick reminder. We had said on Thursday that we would have a lecture today. I assumed most people were listening. So if you guys have any questions, did you want to ask me before we go over the last 5? Any questions about what we covered last week before we go over the last few problems? If not, we'll just start going over those last few problems from the review, and then you can go through any questions. So I just want to double check. Oh, no, not yet. Good. All right. So we left off on Thursday with 5.6 number 31, and that was deciding whether or not the given value was a solution to the equation. Now we're going to look at 5.6 number 57, where we are actually solving for the equation. So here, let me go ahead and write this. I almost started writing with a regular pencil. 5.6, 57. All right, we have 2. No worries, Kate. 0.6x minus 3.6 equals 2.66 minus 2.2x. All right. Let me just write down names real quick. All right, so for those of you just coming in, what we were just saying is that we left off talking about whether or not a given value was a solution to equation. Now we're going to talk about solving an equation. In this case, we have, just write down one more name, sorry. So now we're dealing with decimals, so just like we were at the end of last class. So does anybody remember the 4 steps to solving an algebraic equation? We have 1, we need to simplify, right? And 2, we need to use the addition property. 3, we need to use the multiplication property. And 4, we need to check. All right. Is there anything we can simplify here before we go on to the next step? What do we need to simplify? Well, do we have parentheses that we need to distribute through? Yes. We don't have any like terms yet, but we do need to distribute, right? So 2, oops, hold on, let me grab something really quick. So we have 2 times 0.6. Remember, the trick for that is multiplying 2 times 6 as if it was a whole number. They were both whole numbers. That gives us 12, and we need 1 decimal point. And if you don't remember that, you can also do that on your calculator. So we have 1.2x minus 2 times 3.6, which is going to be 7.8, or excuse me, 7.2. So we have 7.2 equals 2.66 minus 2.2x. Now at this point, there are no more like terms, or there's no like terms, so there's nothing to simplify. So we need to go on to our our addition property step. Remember, in that step, the idea is to get all of the x variables on one side and the numbers on the other side. In order to do that, you have to cancel out one of the x terms, the variable terms on one side. And on this one, I want to have a positive numeric coefficient. So I'm going to add 2.2x to both sides. That will cancel it on this side. So that means there's no more variable term on the right side. Now we have 1.2x plus 2.2x, which is 3.4x, minus 7.2. All we do is carry that down. Oops. Equals 2.66. So now we've got all of our variable term on the left side. There's none on the right side, but now we need to get that numeric term that's here over to the right side, right? In order to do that, we need to cancel it out on that left side. In order to cancel it, we do the opposite sign. So we add 7.2 to both sides. That cancels it out over here. So now we have 3.4x equals, and on this side, we're going to have 9.86. But now we need to get that x all by itself. In order to do that, we need to cancel out that 3.4, right? We have to divide by 3.4. So that's going to cancel that, and we're going to get x equals, and I'm just going to do that in the calculator real quick, divided by 3.4, and it's going to give us 2.9. And in order to check that, we did that in the last problem. Remember, check to see if it's an answer. We would need to plug it back into that equation up there and make sure both sides are equal. All right, any questions on that one? No, good. All right. All right, let's go to the next one. Here we have solve the following application problem. This is 5.6, number 61. A cylindrical water tank has a radius of 7.5 feet and a height of 6.2 feet. What I'm going to do, put this down there so we can draw it, so we can all visualize. So we have a cylindrical water tank. Remember, a cylinder is like this, right? You have a circle on top and a circle on the bottom. All right, so it says that the radius is 7.5 feet. So that means from the center here to the outside is 7.5 feet. That would be that distance right there. And then it says that the height is 6.2 feet. It looks like I did not draw this proportionally. That's okay. So what is the volume of the tank? Round to the hundredths place if necessary. So it gives us, although it wrote P instead of pi, that's a mistake when it copied over from the thing. So it just gives us that the volume is equal to pi r squared h. That's the height. So please forgive that P there. I guess it copied over as a P when I was putting that together. I didn't notice that. anybody remember what pi is equal to? About equal to. Very good, Shanna, 3.14. So remember, that's the estimate we're going to be using for this class. It even tells you that. There you go. All right, so we're given, this is our height, this is our radius. So all we need to do is to plug those numbers in, right? So volume equals 3.14 times the radius, which is 7.5, 7.5 squared. And then the height is 6.2. Right? Everybody with me so far? All I did was plug in, that's pi r squared, and that's h. All right, all we then need to do, now, this is where you do need to be careful a little bit with order of operations, not so much because we're multiplying, it would come more into play if we were adding, but you need to make sure that you do that whole thing is equal to 7.5 times 7.5. Remember, make sure you get that base correct. All right, 7.5 squared is 56.25. So that means that this all equals 3.14 times 56.25 times 6.2. All right, now we just multiply all those together. We get 3.14 times 56.25 times 6.2, and that equals 1,095.08. And it said to round to the nearest hundredths. Well, that's as far as it went, so we don't need to do any more rounding. So that's our answer. Any questions about that one? Is that a lot, Joy? Or do you have a question about that one? It's really not, I know it looks like a lot, but I promise you it's not. I think sometimes when you start seeing the pi r squared h, it looks intimidating, but remember, all you're really doing is multiplying three numbers by each other in the end. Pi r squared and h, it's just break it down step by step, okay? Do you have any questions about any of those steps, or does it all make sense? Okay, all right. All right, so let's look at the next one. Here we have solve application problem that involves dividing decimals. Now, again, I want to point out, it tells us here that we're dividing. It will not tell you that on the exam, so please pay close attention to the wording to make sure you know if you're multiplying, dividing, or adding or subtracting. So here we're looking for the hourly wage. Maxwell earned $517.48 for working 34 hours at a local thrift store. Find Maxwell's hourly wage. If necessary, round the answer to the nearest hundredth. So we're given the total number that he earned and how many hours. Now, if we were given the hourly wage and the number of hours, we would multiply those together to get the total wage. But now we need to go backwards, right? We have the total wage, the number of hours, so we need to divide that to make sure we get, or to get the hourly rate. So this is, let me write down 5.7, number 21. All right, so we're given that the total paycheck is 517, so the total pay equals 517.48, and the hours equals 34. And remember when I was telling you guys about the divide trick, remember that the paycheck, the rate that he's getting paid is hours. It's dollars per hour. Do you guys remember when I said that that's the same thing as saying dollars over the hours or dividing? So that kind of tells you that you need to divide the total divided by the hours. right? So if you kind of forget, remember, I'm looking for dollars per hour. So I need to divide the total dollars by the number of hours. So that tells us then that we need to do 517.48 divided by 34. Now, really quick, I'm going to show you guys just, well, we really don't need to do the long way. Just identify that. So let's go ahead and divide that. We get 517.48 divided by, let me make sure you guys can see all that, divided by 34. And we get 15.22. And right there, there's no more decimals, so we don't need to round it. But that means that his total like hourly rate is $15.22. And remember to pay close attention to the units because it will ask you that in the drop down. Any questions about that one, guys? Okay. All right. Well, it's probably in a state. Max probably works in California where the cost of living is outrageous. All right. So here we have this is another two more application problems here that we're looking at formulas, or should I go right? Involve formulas and equations. Gymnastics. So here we have 5.7 number 27. Let's see here. So we have the top of a balance beam used in some gymnastic competitions is 0.33 foot wide and 16.5 feet long. What area do gymnasts have to work with when performing a balance beam routine during these competitions? So what shape is the top of a balance beam? Does anybody know? A rectangle, very good. So if you were to look at the top of a balance beam, you're looking at a rectangle. So when it says, what area do gymnasts have to work with? We're looking for the area of that rectangle. Remember that the area equals the length times the width. We're given that the width is, what, 0.33 feet, and the length is 16.5. So we just want to know what that total area is, right? So that means we're going to multiply the length times the width. All right, everybody with me on this one so far? And when you multiply those, you get 5.445. And what does it say for rounding? It does not say to round, so we would just input that answer. So we have 5.445, and it's square feet. Like that, feet squared. All right, any questions there? That one pretty straightforward. No, good. All right. All right, last one, perimeter of a rectangle. So we're looking at the same shape, but a different figure, right? So here we are at 5.7, number 31. It says perimeter of a rectangle. So we already know we're looking at a rectangle. Let me redo that. Rectangle. The He Wangs have decided to enclose their rectangular garden using 72 feet of fencing. So what does that tell us? What is 72? What number is that with regards to this garden? The perimeter. Very good, Sarah. That means that our perimeter equals 72. So they have 72 feet of fencing. It's going to have to go all the way around this garden. The width of the garden is 14.5 feet. What is the length? So now we're not just plugging in the numbers and solving for that bigger number. We need to solve for something by solving for L, right? So we're given that the perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, right? And we're given the width and the perimeter. So let's plug those numbers in. We have 72 equals 2 times L plus 2 times 14.5. And we need to solve for that L. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is multiply this number. So when we multiply 2 times 14.5, we get 29. So we have 72 equals 2L plus 29. Now we need to get this all by itself. That means we need to get rid of this on this side. In order to get rid of it on this side, we need to subtract 29, and whatever we do to one side, we have to do to both. So those cancel, and then we have 72 minus 29 gives us, we're going to come up here, 43 equals 2 times L. Oops, thank you. Sorry about that, Joy. There you go. All right. So now we need to get that L all by itself. In order to do that, we have to divide by 2 on both sides to cancel out that 2 on the 2L. That cancels, so now we have 43 divided by 2, and that gives us 21.5 equals L. And we can quickly check that. So if we did 21.5 plus 2 times 14.5, oops, I just did something wrong. All right, when I plug that number back into that equation, I do get 72 as my perimeter. So that both sides equal, so this answer is correct. So the length is 21.5 feet. Any questions on that one? Do you guys like it when you can see a shape? Does it help you kind of visualize these problems a little bit better? Yeah. All right. So that's it for the exam review. So a lot of you said that you had questions that you wanted to ask during class today, and that's why we carried it over to Tuesday. So if you have a question, please let me know. Either type, I would like it if you could type Q in the chat, and then we can unmute you so you can actually ask it. So who has a question and what is it? Does anybody have a question? Shannon, you don't have, does anybody else have any questions at all? Couple. Great. Sarah, can I go ahead and unmute you? Is that okay? Yes, okay. All right, Sarah, go ahead. Oh, maybe your mic's not working. That's okay. You can go ahead and type it if you want. I'm sorry, I know that's a bigger pain. If you want to type your questions, you can, or we can try again later. I just hate for you to not get to ask your questions today. Okay. Do you have any questions? Do you want to just go ahead and type what you can, or you want to wait until you get your books? Okay. All right. All right. That's fine. Why don't you, that's okay. Don't be sorry. Why don't you, you can do one of two things. You can email me the questions and I can make a video to send them out, or you can let me know. We can schedule a video, like another chat later this, like today or tomorrow. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. All right, does anybody else have any questions for me today then? Because Joy, if you have questions, even if no one else is interested, I mean, you and I can stay on here and we can ask real quick. Does anybody, if no one else has any questions, we can go ahead and end class. And Joy, I can chat with you after class. All right. All right, so this is our last class for the semester. So I do want to say, I know a lot of you, it was not an easy time dealing with this with COVID-19. It wasn't easy for anybody. And I really respect you guys. I really appreciate you guys for sticking through it for the semester. I'm sorry that we have not been able to meet in person since back in March, but I am really happy with those of you that have stuck with it. The exam does start on Thursday. It'll open up on Thursday. It'll close Tuesday. Normally, I require all quizzes to be done by the day before the final exam. However, given how crazy everything's been, you have until Tuesday to finish your quizzes. So that's a week from today. Nothing, and I mean nothing, can be turned in past, or excuse me, the 11th. I'm sorry, that's the Monday. Monday the 11th. Monday. Sorry, do not listen to me on Tuesday. Monday the 11th. Nothing can be turned in after the 11th. So you need to have everything done before then. You need to take your exam before then. And if I don't hear from you, you will not be allowed to make up. There's no makeups. That's the end of the semester. So you guys need to get everything moving early. All right. I posted an announcement last week that had the worksheet. So if you have a printer, make sure you print it out before you take your exam. If you don't have a printer, that's fine. Use blank sheets and keep it organized in order so that I can go through and find the answers. Like I said, I love giving partial credit. So please make sure your work is good. And we're going to be using Honor Lock again to proctor the exam. So make sure you read through those Honor Lock and cam scanner directions. I promise you that cam scanner is not that difficult. Like I said, I've started using it for my kids' schoolwork. It's a very handy tool. So make sure you're very familiar with it and that you can get as much partial credit as possible. So Joy, hang out for just a minute. Anyone else that wants to listen to those questions, let me know. That's fine. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great exam. I hope you guys have a great summer. I hope everything settles down for everybody. So in the meantime, email me if you have any questions, and I will talk to you all soon, hopefully. Take care. All right.